Hey everybody, welcome to Hit Rewind. This episode, you know what? I don't need to explain anymore. We're going to talk about sci-fi movies and whatever, like that kind of realm, fantasy, otherworldly kind of stuff. One step beyond of the 70s. I'm Michael and that's John.
I'm John.
And that's it. It is Johan. So what do you want to start with?
Well, let's start. Since we have a couple of disaster films on here, let's maybe start with Airport first.
Airport is the first disaster movie, at least of that era. I know there's a couple movies about the Chicago fire, but this is like you're starting to lay down the formula of what a disaster movie is. And I forget, this movie isn't like the rest of the disaster films. You spend for fucking ever before it really becomes a disaster movie.
Yeah, it's maybe in like the last third
Yeah.
where the disaster thing starts, and it's basically just it's a drama of the workings of an airport during this really bad snowstorm in 1970 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, I really would have loved to have seen this on the big screen, because like all the split screen and wipes and stuff that are done in this film, those really would play remarkably well on a very large screen. Whereas, I got a decent sized TV, but I'm going like, no, this is kind of meant to be big.
Yeah, I think the difference between this one and the other ones, which some are based on novels, Poseidon Adventure and Towering Inferno are based on novels, whereas Alex Haley is much more interested in the character development by a long shot before the action starts. Whereas, like, if Poseidon Adventure, it's development of the characters as it's going on. And Alex Haley, I think, was more fitted for mini-series. And so, because, like, he did Roots later, and he did The Money Changers and some other stuff, Hotel. His kind of writing isn't that cinematic, but the event in this is. And so the formula basically is grab 2 or 3 really well-known names and fill the rest of the cast with usually people, kind of past their prime or up-and-comers. And you can get a lot of name recognition and star value for very little money. And then you can spend the rest on the actual disaster.
Yeah, like here you got Burt Lancaster, you got Dean Martin, and it's Helen Hayes got a Best Supporting Actress award. So did the cinematography.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous looking movie.
Oh no, I think it was only up for cinematography. Shit, I wrote some of them down and I can't remember. Now I'm looking at my notes, so I can't tell. Other than Helen Hayes did get the supporting actress.
Yeah, it's you have to be patient with it, and I'm really testing the limits of this little genre thing that you and I have chosen to discuss. Whoops, hey, how about I not hit 4 buttons at once? By accident. Hey, I don't know if you heard that. It went broop, broop, like an old 80s Pong sound. Yeah, I would say this is probably the closest you're going to get to like a normal film that probably shouldn't be in here. But because of its insane success, you get so much more through the entire decade of disaster films. It's a very interesting decade because that was basically your sci-fi. You had hard sci-fi, and then you had more of the audience-pleasing kind of crowd, let's bring in the big box office kind of movies like this. And then the rest of the stuff, not so much the same way.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's a lot of stuff that is, we never had these at the time. Didn't have those tentpole movies necessarily like we do now, where the summer blockbusters and crap. Again, that'd be Jaws at the end of the decade. But yeah, you did usually have every now and then some of these really big films. That you sit there and just like, yeah, he's an ensemble cast, people that you can, your old tried and true. Trying to, damn it, why? My brain is fried tonight.
It's okay. My brain didn't show up today.
Oy. But anywho, suffice to say, yeah, this is one that started it all. What's funny is this film is, for the most part, a fairly serious drama. But then Helen Hayes' little subplot is this so weirdly whimsical thing, because she's this old lady who just sneaks onto planes to go flying. Doesn't pay for anything, just kind of scams her way on, and has just kind of gone cross country, bilking the airline out of money. And it's just silly considering everything else that happens, which includes a terrorist attack.
Yeah. And of course, this launched the entire franchise. I'm trying to think. This is one of the only disaster movie franchises I can think of. There are sequels, like there's another Twister, there's another Poseidon Adventure, but this was a full-on 4 movies, and I've heard that the Starship or Starflight 1 was supposed to be another airport movie, but they changed it and turned it into a TV movie. But it's the only one I can think of. Do you know any other disaster movie franchises?
I mean, the closest thing I would have said would have been Poseidon, because the 2 sequels and a reboot.
Actually, 2. People forget that at the same time that there was the big Kurt Russell remake, that there was a TV miniseries with Steve Guttenberg.
Although, I guess you could say the films of Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, it almost feels like it's a constant
franchise.
Yeah, because he is the franchise. His name is the franchise, which is weird.
So yeah, I guess that's the closest thing I could say as.
Yeah. I think the second and third one, which we get to discuss later, are absolutely fantastic. The fourth one is complete and utter fucking garbage, so we're not going to discuss that one. That was embarrassing. But George Kennedy is in all of them, and I feel like as the movies go on, his role keeps changing. He keeps getting weird promotions. What is our next film?
You know what? We'll do the other one and go to Poseidon Adventure.
Holy shit, I've never seen this before. Was this a first-time watch for you?
No, I've seen this before.
Okay. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I was enthralled the entire way.
Yeah, it is a hell of a movie, and like I said, yeah, Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Shelley Winters, you have Roddy McDowall in it, Red Buttons, who I think is probably one of the best characters in this film.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. That seemed like one of those, well, who are we going to get? Who can we afford? That kind of phone it in, kind of last-minute casting. No, he's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and you also have a pre-comedy Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, not in it very much. People don't get. If you're a Leslie Nielsen fan, you got like 15 minutes at best.
Yeah, he's the captain of the boat, and the boat doesn't go very well for the boat. So you can imagine, probably doesn't go well for him.
Well, and the interesting thing is the disaster isn't one of those where someone screws up, like Titanic or something like that, or someone causes it. This is literally just, holy shit, a storm out of nowhere, and it just flips them upside down, and they got to make their way through. They're at the bottom of the boat, and they got to make their way to the top.
Well, no, it is actually someone's fault.
Is it?
Because they were forced. Yeah, they were kind of forced to go at an unsafe speed. It's like they were going at some speed at full speed, and they weren't able to take on the ballast that they needed to because they were being forced to save a couple of bucks by doing this. And that's what flips the boat.
Okay, I must have missed that part. But I just think
that's like top of the film.
The setups that they give them are completely practical. Just like, oh yeah, that makes sense why they would do that. Sometimes in disaster movies there's a force thing that makes you go somewhere, and you're like, okay, that is just do it. What do you call it? Do ex machina, just trying to get the thing going. And it's just every one of them is like, yeah, the 2 people are going to panic when the water finally starts flooding in, thinking they're going to be safe. They're going to race up that tree, and it's going to collapse on them, and then none of them are getting up, and they're all going to die because they didn't fucking listen.
That point where you get to the people following the doctors to the other end of the boat, and especially knowing what you know about it, it just kind of sees people on this death march, and it's haunting to see. And it's kind of funny because it also, in a way, you can kind of start seeing that, this is a film about faith versus science, because who survives? The people who follow the man of God. not the man of science, the doctor. I don't think that's necessarily something that was in the forefront, and I just read into things too much sometimes.
No, I can kind of see that. And this is where Gene Hackman, look, he got a lot of attention for French Connection. I feel like this is the Gene Hackman that we fucking know. Like, everything after this is like, oh, that's the Gene Hackman right there.
Yeah, it's usually the guy who is smarter than everyone else in the room and is gruff enough to kind of yell his way into making him do it.
Yeah, I thought this movie was remarkably cruel to women. I see, like, everybody was losing their wives and girlfriends, and like, what the fuck?
Well, let's be honest. The only female character in this entire film who isn't a lead weight around everyone's neck is Shelley Winters.
Yeah, and then she fucking dies.
Yeah. Nominated for an Oscar, won a Golden Globe. But yeah, it's like, honestly, of the characters in this film, the ones I genuinely like were Shelley Winters, Red Buttons, and Uncle Joe. I can never remember the actor's name. He's Uncle Joe from Willy Wonka.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I had someone else in my head, and I realized that's not him. I was thinking something Jack Albertson, but that's not Jack Albertson. Yeah, I just think it's a really well made, and I love the fact it's all practical. There's no fucking CGI in any way whatsoever. And there's some miniature work, but it's really good miniature work. Whereas Airport, you can fucking tell that's early miniature. Like, oh yeah, you're just you have a plane on a stick, and that's just some fog on the ground. You know, it's just like it's a plane that's a foot in the air.
There's optical effects where to add snow in front of the camera. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you watch the sequel at all?
I didn't.
It's garbage. Holy shit. Look, I love those movies. The cast was fun just because, like, I know that person, that person, but none of it makes any sense. And everything is just like, wow, you guys are trying to be the stupidest fucking people in history. That's the whole movie. Just, oh my God. So, unless you're really curious, don't even bother.
Well, I do think, apparently they were going to try and get Gene Hackman back for that one.
Yeah.
And he's like, I died.
Yeah.
No. We have a genius way to do it, and it just would have been his twin brother.
Oh, I hate when they do that. He does fall right into fire, so I'm pretty sure unless you're going to make him look like Darkman, it ain't going to work. Yeah. All right, what is our next film?
Captain Nemo and the Underwater City.
This feels so Saturday matinee compared to the other ones, doesn't it?
Yes. What's funny is I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, I stumbled across it.
I love the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Disney. I will be honest, maybe I have seen this. Like, this is definitely something I would have rented when I was a kid. But I don't know. And honestly, as much as I probably would have liked it as a kid, this one was boring as hell.
Look, I didn't know beforehand. I didn't know. Sometimes I just have to guess. I think what I love is the practical effects. The miniatures, the look, the set design, the costumes were phenomenal. It does drag quite a bit. You get like the exciting, hey, we're down Atlantis. And then I don't think it's exciting again until they're like, look, we're fucking leaving, guys. That's it, we're done. And then you can't leave. Yeah.
The underwater photography is very beautiful, but it also is very much almost nature documentary style, shooting for this stuff. So it's
well, I think there was
dynamic, but it is interesting.
Yeah, there is one guy, I think he was the guy who did Flipper and a couple other shows down in Florida, and he was like the only guy that specialized in that kind of thing, like the way that Warren Miller specialized. Do you want a skiing or a snowboarding scene in your movie? You go to Warren Miller to shoot it. It was kind of like this guy, and I'm pretty sure that he did all the shooting for Captain Nemo. So it looks quite a bit different, but it's very interesting because not a lot of people have that kind of camera that they can do underwater filming with, unless you're going to do really shit miniatures. You know what I mean? Like where it clearly looks like it's in a tub.
This definitely felt like they were in. If they weren't diving in actual things, and very obviously there's sea life in this in these shots. But that could very well be, they're in an aquarium or something.
Yeah, so it's Robert Ryan towards the end of his career playing Captain Nemo, and he's fine. Chuck Connors, I think, is probably the best part of this movie. what I hated were those two doofuses that were always up to shenanigans. They got it so
Oh yeah,
goddamn exhausting. That's why it feels like straight up a kids movie. They felt like that was
yeah.
forced to appeal to children.
That's just it. Like I'm just looking at it going, this is a kids movie.
Yeah,
From the same face,
this is a subpar Disney movie, and this is not even good this is Disney during their weakest era, probably.
Yeah, it's there's definitely a thing is if you have a feeling of nostalgia for stuff like this from when you were a kid, then yeah, give it a shot. That's basically the only reason why I I sat through the whole thing after a while because I'm going, you know what, this is hitting a nostalgia button, which is fine. I will sit through it, but damn.
I did say Disney. I don't want people to be misled. This is not a Disney movie. This is an MGM film, and I think it's funny is MGM's had so many periods where they're out of money, so they have to make these lower budget. Instead of making the studio stuff, they're almost exploitation level, like $2-3 million films, over and over and over in their careers or their studio, I guess, whatever. It's a good time waster. If I was 12 and I saw this on a Saturday afternoon, hell yeah. All right, what's next?
All right, the next one is Andromeda Strain.
This should have been boring. I was apprehensive on even getting this, but I'd heard really good things for a long time. And the description makes it sound like even a slower outbreak. I thought this was absolutely fascinating, just amazing.
Oh, it's a hell.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a movie. Although, let's be honest, it does do the one thing that pretty much all procedural type shows, especially ones that have a science focus, don't do, and show you that science actually is pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, what are they doing? They're spending a lot of time going over very small things, very methodically.
Yeah. Well, what I think. What works is Robert Wise's direction and the budget. They clearly half that budget clearly was on technology that nobody had ever seen before. I don't know if this stuff existed, the public didn't know about it, or they had to build it on their own. A lot of it is creating this world and making you believe that there's this huge maybe existed, I don't know, but this science research bunker underground for extremely dangerous situations. And I believed every fucking second, especially since I didn't even know anybody in the cast. That helped.
Yeah, and this is definitely a film I've seen before. But it's been a very long time, so I have like vague memories of things here and there.
Yeah, the only one I had seen of any of these was Airport. I saw it like a year ago.
Now, one thing that really did bother me, and I definitely forgot, which was when they're killing the monkey and the rat.
Yeah.
Which is done with supervision, but that is a monkey getting suffocated.
Yeah, that was hard.
Now, you can see, like, right at the end of the shot, the trainer running up with air to...
you see that?
Yeah, you can see the shadow move.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there is... it was like, this was all done under supervision. The monkey was fine.
But still...
It is disturbing to watch, so... This is definitely not a film for a lot of people, because once you get to that point, it's very much almost I will turn this shit off.
Yeah, it's
sort of.
So if you haven't seen the movie, a virus breaks out in a small little town in the middle of nowhere, and there's a couple survivors, and they have to figure out how they survive. They're running out of time. There's calls to blow up the town, to blow up the entire area. There's a chance of it getting loose in the facility. There's stuff like that. Like the lady who has seizures based on, the flashing lights, and people think that she has the virus, and they're all freaking out and stuff like that. And then there's a whole thing at the end about this place is going to blow up, but you got to climb up this ladder, and there's fucking lasers shooting at you. And I was like, that's fucking crazy.
It just, the last like 10 minutes of this film almost become a totally different movie.
Yeah, it almost feels like a video game at the very end.
Yeah, it's wild. And based off a Michael Crichton book, written, if I remember right, by Michael Crichton in the the screenplay.
Yeah, this is his launching point, right? Because right after this, I think the next year is when he does Westworld, and then he just becomes that's fucking Michael Crichton now.
Yeah, yeah. This was like I think it was like also the first book that he not that he penned, but was under his name, stuff like that.
Okay.
You know?
What is our final film?
Our final film is Silent Running.
I knew of Silent Running because it was the basis for Mystery Science Theater 3000. I had never seen it. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, guys, this is hard sci-fi. This is got made, I'm sure, because of 2001, and Douglas Trumbull was the special effects guy on that. Directed this, very methodical, very interesting, but it is slow as a slug.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I only knew this film by the title, and I actually thought it was going to be a submarine movie.
Oh, that makes sense, honestly.
Yeah. And I will say this, the film does start off by telling us the future is going to be just pretty much populated by douchebags.
Yeah. Jock Bros.
Yeah, because those, aside from Bruce Dern, that's like his crew are just a bunch of jock douchebags.
Yeah, but Bruce Dern is also not right in the head. He makes some very bad decisions.
Oh, yes. And it's weird because it's like Earth has been deforested, so here are these space stations that are cultivating plants, and I'm assuming animals too.
Yeah. That's weird. Maybe not because he's so obsessed with those robots as his friends. You would think that he would.
Not his. I don't think his particular one was.
Okay.
But I figure, like, if it's a completely deforested thing, and I guess since people are still living on the planet and it's a quote-unquote utopia, then I'm guessing that it's like Coruscant in Star Wars, and it's just Earth is now just one big city. It's a monoculture.
Mega City 1.
And it's like, what's kind of thing is like, Bruce has this monologue where he's talking about how boring Earth is. It doesn't have life and thought, quote unquote life. And it makes me think about how good science fiction is, not only about the issues of the time that it's written, because that's usually what science fiction is a reflection of, what our fears and concerns are of the day, but sometimes, sadly, some of these things are timeless. And that monologue just basically resonated with me in 2025. And it was like a 1970, penned idea.
Yeah, it's mostly a character piece. Just watching him try to survive with these robots, and there's just so much sadness in his connection to the robots, especially when one gets destroyed, and you really feel for it. But it's just one of those. I don't know. You just watch a guy kind of lose his mind in space. It's interesting. I mean, he's not necessarily a hero, but he's not a villain either. It's just circumstantial.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't like the idea that American Airlines wants their spacecraft back, and so he's going to rescue the one thing that basically gives his life meaning, and it's this eco-terrorist in space story.
Yeah.
With a guy who's not exactly all there mentally.
I was trying to figure out the special effects. Like, how did they get these robots to work? And apparently, they were little people who had to stand upside down and walk on their hands or something.
It was probably that, or like E.T., where it's someone with missing limbs.
Yeah, that too. But it's just so it has to be that, because I just realized if they were upside down, they would fucking pass out from all the blood shooting to their head, and within a minute or two, you couldn't really shoot the movie. But you see elements of this that are going to be used later in Star Wars. Just how they design and used. Yeah, you clearly George Lucas must have seen something with this movie and like, okay, this is something I can use. This is something I can use. It is a very well made movie, very gorgeous, but you got to have patience.
Yeah, it's of the things. It's the second boring film we watched.
Yeah, honestly,
I did like it.
Honestly, the best one here. It's an entertainment machine, but it's also really well made. Is the Poseidon Adventure, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it is the action film of our group.
Yeah.
And it's a fun time at the movies, whereas everything else is either a little more thought provoking or just seriously dramatic.
Yeah. My mom, when she didn't see a whole lot of movies growing up, but she went to a double feature of Poseidon Adventure and Towering Inferno at the drive-in, and that must have been really cool.
Yeah, but also definitely makes you not want to be on cruise ships or in tall buildings.
No. All right, so that is it for this episode, everybody. Wow, that's a fast one. A lot of it's because I'm just tired. John, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
And everybody, keep watching the screens. I'll come up with something clever later.
Keep watching the skies. Weirdo.
We're both dorks.